Korea sparkling.
An hour north of Seoul is the Haeundae Botanical Garden, a treasure trove of gorgeous rare and collectible plants. Built in the 1970s, it spreads over 150 acres and it's home to over 9,000 plant species, of which 2,400 are native to the Korean Peninsula. Because of its location on the side of Mount Haeundae and it receiving over 1,500 millimetres of rainfall per annum, it's ideal for both alpine and rainforest species. Now, the garden is made up of 33 smaller themed gardens and it's widely considered a high-level botanical garden. And its research centre and education facilities, well, they're recognised internationally as the finest in Korea. Some of the highlights of this beautiful garden for me include the rock garden with its herbaceous perennials like the native columbines or aquilegias. Now, they're in masses of bloom and they've been surrounded by dogwood and maple trees. In the month of May, you'll enjoy spring flowering bulbs and corms, such as tulips and ranunculus. There's also perennials like phlox, which are just at their best everywhere you go. Now, the garden's brimming with life and just spectacular colours everywhere. I fall in love with some of the collections of plants like hostas and daylilies. They're some of the best collections I've seen anywhere in the world. And then there's these beauties here. Now, these are peony roses. They are stunning, huge flowers. They're complex and come in a whole range of colours. And look, if you order them via mail order catalogues, you can enjoy success in Australia. But I've got to warn you, you really do need a cold climate if you're going to get flowers as beautiful as these. Those of you a little unsure about Korea will feel well at home in the Australian garden, which is housed under glass. Now, this is because the winter temperatures get as low as minus 20 degrees Celsius and summers as high as 40 degrees Celsius. It's hard to think of Aussie plants as sensitive, but if they were not housed in this controlled environment, they just wouldn't be here. Now, some of the standout plants in the garden include bottle trees, grass trees, grevilleas and bottlebrush. And this house is one of the most popular gardens with Korean people, particularly with school children who visit to learn more about Australia, its plants and animals. The gardens are ablaze with stunning colour this time of year in Korea, and most of it comes from these fantastic plants here, azaleas, and they look just brilliant. But look, this garden has over 7.5 million plants in it, so you're always going to see something really special.
If you're interested in Buddhism, a great way to fully immerse yourself in the South Korean Buddhist experience is to sign up for a temple stay. This afternoon I'll be joining the monks here at the Haeundae Temple for an overnight stay to gain an insight into some of their rituals and ceremonies. This beautiful temple is about half an hour from the centre of Seoul. It's as tranquil and serene as you'd imagine a Buddhist temple would be. Hard to believe it's smack bang in the middle of the suburbs. I arrived just before 4 p.m, and after a quick change of clothes, I was met by the venerable Zen master Poa Sunim, the head of the temple. He gave me what's called the first instruction, sort of tea and a chat if you like.
We have monastery here, we have Zen center here, we are taking robe like that, we are chanting, we are bowing, we are doing so many things. Yeah, so your focus.
4:30 p.m, time for an early dinner, a simple meal of rice and vegetables. It wasn't long before I heard the banging of the temple drum. Poa Sunim had told me to listen out for that. It meant that half an hour of chanting was about to start upstairs. When the drumming stopped, the bell below was rung 29 times. It was loud, but strangely soothing, and helped to get us into the right headspace for what was to come. A gong inside the temple signalled the beginning of the evening chanting. As this came to a close, we moved upstairs to the Zen room for meditation, close to an hour of contemplation in absolute silence. The whole experience really was something new, and I couldn't wait to discuss it further with the master.
So when you're sitting on the cushion or doing so many things in the monastery, you can just focus on one very, very clear point, which is question.
This was heavy stuff. Well, the rooms are pretty basic, but that's all part of the experience when you do a temple stay. And so far it's been pretty cool, and I feel honoured to be involved with it. Now, the sun's only just gone down, But all that meditation, even though it's sort of relaxing, it's quite draining too, especially for a first timer like myself. So I'm going to get some sleep because I've got to be up at 3 a.m. for more of the same. Hey, this is the temple, no peeking.
You can't get much closer to North Korea than the demilitarised zone. This is a no-man's land, 4 kilometres wide and 240 kilometres long, that separates North and South Korea. The prayers of the 9 million people that live in Gyeonggi province, right on the edge of the demilitarised zone, are embodied in this bell. It weighs 21 tonne, and there's some symbolism there. You see, it was created at the end of the 20th century when the country was separated. And it's hoped that in the 21st century it will be reunited and peace will reign in this troubled part of the country. Now, when you ring the peace bell, you need to strike it 3 times. The first time, for hope. The second time, for reunification. And the third time, for peace. 180,000 tourists per year visit the DMZ, as it's called. You need to bring a passport and sign a release form that makes it very plain that this is no walk in the park. It's serious. Panmunjom is a truce village that sits across the border and was the site of the signing of the ceasefire a lifetime ago. The observatory at Checkpoint 3 allows you to look over the heavily fortified river into the north. I'm walking on the Freedom Bridge, so called because 12,000 prisoners of war from the north walked over this bridge to breathe freedom in the south at the time of the ceasefire. But it's still an area of some tragedy for the Korean people. And many South Koreans come here on special occasions to leave notes on the fence to relatives that they can no longer talk to because of the border. To my left is a railway line that links North and South Korea, but the trains can no longer go all the way through. It's hoped that in the future that link will be re-established and it will enable a journey to begin at Busan at the southern end of the peninsula, go through Seoul and Pyongyang and go all the way to Turkey. This area is the most heavily armed border on Earth, and it's estimated that there are more than 1 million armed soldiers deployed on both sides. A campaign is underway to persuade both governments to turn the demilitarised zone into a world peace park. Visiting the DMZ is a very different experience, and it's easy to organise through hotels and travel agencies in South Korea. Later in the show, we go just around the corner to see Haeundae Art Village. You too could combine both locations in a day.